I know there's more comic book stuff you want to talk about, Ramon. Don't hold out on us.
Oh, let me see.
You name it, we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
What-
we can talk about anything. Good.
Going back to character costumes, I'm picturing someone, like, say, going to, like, the California Comic Book Convention and, like, looking at, say, like, a new issue of Wonder Woman and complaining, and then about 5 different women are dressed as Wonder Woman walking by. It's like, what do you say? Like when you literally see your argument fall apart in your face.
Well, no.
What do you do?
Then you just harass those women about how horrible they are for dressing like that. But not to their face. You take pictures of them and put it up on Facebook and talk about how they're the enemies of women everywhere.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, that's probably 20 to 30 different discussions. Just, without even getting deep. So this show's going to be fun for a while.
Like anything, people have picked sides, and the solution is in the middle, and no one is willing to admit that, hey, maybe I should compromise on something.
I don't know if the solution is in the middle, because on the one side you have people that are just drawing comics and giving the characters costumes, and on the other hand you have people that are taking the work that other people are doing, that other people are paying money to see, and they're saying, you need to stop doing this.
Well, there are two sides to it. There are two extreme sides to it. You have the social justice warriors who want to see women in burqas, and then the people that actually, the people that want women to be as nude as possible because they just like staring at breasts.
Yeah, but that's not two ends of any magnetic pole.
Have you met comic book fans? They're all pretty
pervy.
pervy.
Because okay. So you've got revealing costumes in comics. It's a whole other industry when you just have nude superheroes. That's a whole other industry, and it's an industry that isn't compromising with anyone that's saying, "Hey, you need to dress your women up," because it's the whole point of the industry. So it's not about reaching a middle ground, because first off, the people that are voicing these complaints don't want to reach a middle ground anywhere. Yeah. They don't even know what they want, because like you said, they want to see everyone in burqas. That's not actually the case. What they say might imply that all these women should be in burqas. That might be how they represent their case. But then if you actually go and put a woman in a burqa, now they have a problem with, oh, well, you're oppressing women and you're forcing them to cover themselves up. So you can't win with them no matter what you do.
So what?
It just seems like if people just make the characters engaging and the stories interesting, it doesn't really matter so much what the characters are wearing, so you can make them look cool however you want them to look, and it's just a very simple solution. But
right.
As yet,
want to go for it.
Well, as yet we don't have government-enforced comic reading, so we're not forced to read comics against our will that we don't want to read. So if someone has a problem with Wonder Woman, what they do is they take the Wonder Woman comic in their hand, put it back on the shelf, and walk away. Because if you don't
there's a certain level of the comic making people getting spines and just saying, no, this is what the character looks like because this is what the character has always looked like, and I like what the character looks like, so go away, right?
I have never compromised on a character costume for any of the characters I've ever written in a story. It didn't matter what it was, and I prefer to have a broad spectrum of costumes because I like characters to be identifiable.
Yeah. Well,
and probably the only reason nobody's said anything to me about it is because I write all my stuff. I don't draw anything. But Drop and Stickman are naked.
Well, that's one of the things, like, when you're building a team...
Drop and Stickman is Justin's pan to nudism. And that's why Sin the Dark Body is the enemy, because he has the cape.
Well, he also has a belt.
And the belt, yes.
Well, that's when you're designing teams like the Avengers or the X-Men. X-Men started off as like everyone wears the same uniform, but more or less cut differently, blah, blah, blah. But eventually they started, like in Giant Size X-Men #1 in the 70s, suddenly everyone had variety. Suddenly there were all these different colors, all these characters from different backgrounds, and that's when the book became the book that, would launch a mega franchise someday.
Yeah.
And then you have the Avengers, where you have the Green Hulk, blue Thor, red, white, and blue Captain America, yellow and red Iron Man. You have all this big color spectrum, and
so the characters are identifiable.
Yeah, the characters are identifiable, and you don't get bored. Like, you stare at the same colors all this time, and it's like, yeah, it's uniform, but, man, it's kind of dull. And I don't know why it's dull.
That's what dull means, is uniform, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's just like...
It was in the letter, Robin.
Like, that's one of the reasons why when G.I. Joe took off in the 80s... really, G.I. Joe, Transformers, He-Man... One of the things that was really eye-catching is you look at the color schemes of all the characters, and it's wildly all over the place. Like, even like in an army setting with G.I. Joe, you still had people running around with like blue.
Yeah.
What army has ever worn, aside from people that are like in the Arctic, like have ever worn blue out in the field?
Oh, what's his name? Mike Savage will tell you about the UN armies, and they wear blue, don't they?
Any day now, Obama's going to start rounding up the intellectuals and shooting them.
Yes, that's right.
He started yes, exactly. Like, he started almost every show I heard saying, like, get ready, because tomorrow it's going to happen. It's like, oh my God, are you serious?
No, we don't have to worry about that anymore, because it looks like Hillary might be the nominee.
Obama's been in office almost 8 years now. You'd think he wouldn't drag his feet so long.
What do you mean you think he wouldn't drag his feet? It's all he does is drag his feet. He's playing golf all the time now. How long did it take him to get to Flint and take a symbolic sip of water?
At this point, he probably just said, fuck it.
No, he did. He did that 2 days ago, I think. 2 or 3 days ago. He showed up. Because a girl had written him a letter saying, how could this happen? He decided to go to Flint. The reasons of politicians for getting things done are woefully inadequate to any sensible position a human being could have. But he did finally make it out there after nobody's even talking about it anymore. And he stood up in front of everyone, and the first thing he said was, could I get a drink of water?
Wait, what?
Yeah, and then they gave him water that was processed through a filter.
Well, I hope so.
I don't know what the point of that. Like he was.
I don't like his policies, but I hope he doesn't get lead poisoning.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was like he was trying to be symbolic, but he wasn't actually drinking the water. So.
But he didn't even drink it either. Like he just kind of like.
Oh no, he drank the filtered water. He wasn't drinking the water that everyone else there had to drink.
He's the president.
so it was symbolism in a way. I don't think it was the symbolism people thought it was.
I'm surprised that no one picked up on that. It was like, this is kind of...
Well, I did.
Yeah, you did. But...
He's the president. He doesn't have to drink the Flint water.
Well, you see, Fox News would have picked up on it, but they're busy freaking out.
They wouldn't have.
No. They'd have picked up on it and insulted the president over it, but they were busy freaking out over the Andrew Jackson 20.
And
I'm
I have an idea. I have a great idea. We should just stop using paper currency. I think that's the way to handle this.
Yeah, I think that going back to a 100% gold standard, or a metallic standard at least, is probably the way to go.
I don't care if we go to Bitcoin at this point. Just get me away from paper money.
It's so unequal too, because we just have faces on them. We should just have just objects on them that we don't have to, because we don't want we need everything to be uniform.
Paper currency is the tool of the white supremacist.
That's right. I hear that what's his name, McVeigh, paid for his bomb materials with money. Think about it.
The guy I bought donuts from this morning. He only accepts paper money. That is
shit.
That is the worst Chinese guy I ever dealt with.
He takes that money, walks out to the back of his donut shop, and buys drugs with. There's a guy waiting there to sell him drugs.
Well, only if you use large bills, larger than say $20.
Yeah, did you pay with 100?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I had a lousy
Holy
day
shit,
at work.
What kind of donut is that?
I had a lousy day at work. I deserve $100 worth of donuts.
Sometimes I'm inclined to it. Sometimes I read the news and I think I need $100 worth of donuts. Yeah, Ramon said, "What's the subject?" when I told him that we were going to talk about things, and I was like, "Who knows?" Like the last time me and Rudy talked, we just opened up Google News until we found something.
Today, $100 donuts. Tomorrow, the world.
I think we're doing pretty good here. What's next? Anything?
Yeah. Batman versus Superman really sucked.
Well, we have brought that up in 4 different podcasts now. It came up in the gun discussion we had.
It's going to be the gold standard by which we judge the badness of all things, basically.
Well, no, we have the gold standard for that. Because even Superman versus Batman was not as bad as The Keep. I just don't know if I have the energy to get back. That will be.
Are you sure The Keep is the gold standard? I thought it was made of silver.
It is the worst movie of all time, and even Superman could not prevent that from being the case. Try though he might. Like, maybe that's what it was. Maybe that was Superman's attempt at stopping the horrors of The Keep being the worst movie of all time, but he couldn't do it.
No, his powers were insufficient.
The Keep was birthed not from some demon named Martha.
Well, maybe the only reason is he didn't... Who directed The Keep again?
Michael Mann.
Yeah. Maybe the only reason that Superman didn't kill Michael Mann is because Michael Mann's mother's name is Martha.
Yeah, we might have to look into that. Either that or because Superman's not real.
That's another possibility that I choose not to think about.
Or maybe it's the case that maybe Superman was real, but somehow the mystical power that kills everything that I love prevented him from existing in order to stop Michael Mann from making The Keep.
I see. That's possible.
Because I would have loved that. You know it's coming, right? We're going to have to do a podcast one day about all the things that I love that have disappeared.
That's a good topic. We could do a podcast about The Keep as well.
That's not one of the things that I love that disappeared. That's one of the things I hate that's never going to go away.
You can't get rid of that DVD. It always comes back.
It's so ridiculous. It's like I kept telling Brandy about how bad it was, and I left the DVD at her place one day, and she finally tried to pop it in, and it broke her DVD player. Like she put it in, and as it was loading up, her DVD player stopped, and it never worked again after that. That's how bad this movie is. God, we're talking about it. We can't. No.
The DVD player left a note that said, "If this is the caliber of film you're going to play with me, I'm just going to end it right now."
Who's found with a pistol next to it?
We could play a game. We could play. Like one of us could pretend to be a social justice warrior, and another person could just give an example of how they would fix a character's costume, and then we could talk about why that's not a good enough solution.
First off, I don't care for the term social justice warrior. How exactly is that an insult?
Well, I thought crybaby would be more insulting, so... It's funny because...
You're othering me!
Okay, so you want to play a fun game... take any person that would be a social justice warrior and picture them holding a sword and a shield. It's hilarious every time.
Let's go on an adventure.
How is social justice warrior an insult? Well, they're implying that you're a zealot, that you don't listen to other people, you don't want to find a solution, you're just pushing someone else's agenda. It's an insult because they're saying you're dumb.
Well, it's like okay, I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna Godwin the hell out of this because this is gonna be hilarious. Maybe it won't be, but we'll see.
Which Godwin?
How is Nazi an insult?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, there's planks in their party, and none of their planks actually say anything about gassing Jews.
Okay, so I know where you're going with this, and I'm not sure how to make it funnier. So. Should I just stand back and let you and Ramon talk about this one? Ramon might already know. I don't know. I think I've talked to him about this before. Because most people, we have to be fair, most people do not know this. Because it wasn't taught to us in school.
Well, I mean, it's like, if you look at the Nazi Party platform from Germany in 1934 or 1936 or whatever, there isn't anything about genocide in it. There's things about, like, bringing down the big department stores and social welfare stuff. But, like, I mean, the reason that Nazi is an insult is because people who adhered to a certain philosophy, if you want to call it that, did horrible things in the name of that philosophy. In the same sense, people doing things in the name of social justice that involve things like censoring people and, other, abysmal things that aren't nearly as bad as gassing 6 million Jews, but are still, violations of other people's rights. That's why it's an insult. That's why. Because we're lumping you in a group of people who do despicable things.
Well, technically, none of what you just said counts as an argument because you're basically calling them Nazis, and most social justice warriors will just discount everything you say and just throw everything you have to offer.
That's why I prefaced it with saying I'm going to Godwin the hell out of this, because that gives me an automatic magic barrier against that argument.
Well, no, because I mean,
no, that's how arguments work. Magic barriers.
It is because those same people will turn around and like if they disagree with something, say a Republican says, they'll just call them a Nazi and be done with it, and it doesn't. For some reason, that's not a bad argument when they do it.
I mean, to soften it, what I would say is, why would calling someone Ted Bundy be an insult, right? It's like, well, I mean, he didn't. I mean, he may have killed some people, but
he may have made a suit out of women, but
what part of his personal, not every part of his personal philosophy was particularly evil. I mean, it's just the one part where he kills and eats people or whatever the fuck he did.
He sewed women together. He wanted to make a woman's suit.
He was trying to make us off.
That's not. No, I don't think Ted Bundy. That's the guy from Silence of the Lambs.
That's who the guy was based off of.
Yeah, based off of, but I don't think Ted Bundy actually did that, did he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Or wait, no. I'm sorry, that was Ed Gein. I don't know what Ted Bundy did.
I think Ted Bundy was the guy who convinced other people to kill people for him.
No, that was Charles Manson.
Was it Charles Manson?
Yeah.
Okay. I think Ted Bundy was just some kind of serial murderer. I don't know.
He was your run-of-the-mill crazy person. I don't know.
Just the run-of-the-mill.
But his personal beliefs.
Yeah, his personal belief systems are multifaceted and layered.
He was pro-oxygen.
Dismiss someone by calling them Ted Bundy because it's not an insult. You see. That's the end of the argument. Quote-unquote argument.
Well, look, Rudy, you're just a straight white male, all right? Check your privilege.
How do you know that? You're just hearing the voice.
well, no, we already handled that argument in another podcast. It was the redefining of words argument.
Yeah. Yes, and I defined the phrase. I defined the phrase "straight white male" coming from the person that I'm arguing with as a complete concession of the argument to me. Thank you very much. That's my privilege. What's yours? Oh goodness.
I mean, you know how it is, Ramon. We're libertarian, so we just the whole justice warrior thing is just we. I won't say that we.
I mean, simply saying that you don't like Wonder Woman's outfit is not.
Yeah. There's right? nothing wrong with that. There's not even anything wrong with being a person who thinks that women should dress up more.
Setting up a boycott to protest Wonder Woman's outfit is not inherently a bad thing. It might be something that you disagree with, but it's not immoral or moral. It's just an action that people acting voluntarily can either go with or go against.
Yeah, and
the things where people try to
exert control over the comic industry.
Yeah, well, it's not. I mean, a boycott is a form of trying to exert control over something, right? I mean, a boycott is an organized group of consumers saying we don't like what you're doing, so we're not going to, use your services or buy your products.
Yeah, but that's different than
the problem is not that they're setting up boycotts. That's not the problem. The problem is that what frequently happens is that they will go to private venues and shout down people who are trying to speak, which is, and then they will claim that their free speech was what gives them the ability to shout down other people who are trying to speak. Saying that by itself is extremely disingenuous and is just we can't hear your argument because your argument is so horrifyingly bad that it will cause us to catch on fire by simply listening to it. Censoring people is, especially in private venues, is a problem. That is a thing that is not to be lauded.
That was actually one of the things that a lot of people talked about at the the Trump rallies, where they were private rallies and private events that that had been paid for were.
But then you also have them like playing these word games where they will say your speech isn't protected because it's hate speech, and then when you try to say, well, what part of my speech is hate speech, they make something up that isn't actually true, or they take something that you said and they distort it. I mean, there's a big dishonest streak in what they do and that's what makes them despicable. Is not that they boycott things. It's not that they say...
Yeah, because I boycott things. I mean...
Yeah. It's that they use underhanded methods to try to make an argument that doesn't actually stand up if you look at things the way that they actually are.
Speaking as the minority that Trump is trying to move away...
Oh, come on. He's not actually going to do that.
Yeah. That's just something he keeps saying over and over and over
really something that
and
he's
over.
Saying. I mean, remember that a lot of a lot of illegal immigrants have been deported under Obama too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. He's never said anything about putting people in death camps. What he said is that we should deport illegal immigrants, which is kind of what the law says that you're supposed to do. It may be distasteful. Maybe we should change the law, but that is what the law says that should be done.
And you're not an illegal immigrant, so he's not. You're not getting marched out of the country.
Well, the thing is about that, people that support Donald Trump don't really see my skin color and assume that I'm American.
Well, I'm not sure that that's true for everyone. I think there is a subset of people who support Trump that do think that way, but I don't think the majority of people, because his message is, the message that is reaching people from him is that he's not really establishment, and he's not going to engage in the same foreign policy that a lot of the other candidates who are establishment candidates would, and that reaches a lot more people than just racists. That said...
But there are racists on. I mean,
yeah, there's racists.
If you look at the people that go up and say your opinion doesn't matter because you're a straight white male, most of them probably aren't Republicans, and that's a very racist statement to make.
Yeah.
So put it like this. There's racism on both sides of the aisle, and it's just I mean, it's despicable in both senses. But I mean, you can't say, oh well, this is. I mean, it seems kind of strange to me to decry the one and ignore the other.
Well, I mean, it's not just that, because I can see where okay, so when you have a situation where you have a candidate that first off everyone said was never going to make it, and second off nobody really likes him. Nobody, in the media or in the political parties like him.
I don't think that anyone really likes Trump. I mean...
Yeah, he's kind of that, well, it's him or no one else kind of...
I mean, like, as a person, like, I think he probably doesn't have a lot of close friends.
Yeah.
He doesn't have... He's a big business guy, and he, is very, egotistical and self-serving, so... he uses government to his advantage when it is to his advantage, and he decries it when it's to his advantage to decry it. It's very... Even though he's outside of the establishment, it's amazing how typical politician a lot of his reactions to things are.
Yeah, but, that's... The racism point is the thing. The thing about that is, look at, like Rudy said, you've got racists on both sides, right?
Yeah.
So when you actually look at what's happening, though, there are people who are supporting Trump who probably for decades have always been like, oh yeah, Mexicans are taking our jobs and all our jobs are going overseas. And there is an element to that where it's like, yeah, just ship them back, and then they don't think about it any further than that. So what happens is if you look at who actually owns all the media organizations and which political side they lean towards, it's easy to see where the majority of the things you see in the media will plaster those people on television and show nothing but those people being Trump supporters, so that it does look like he's just this candidate that's building this anti-immigrant revolution, when in fact he probably has no power to do any of this once he's in office.
Oh no, he doesn't. No, people have... Bill O'Reilly actually was one of the first people to... When people were saying, we're pressuring Trump to actually, like, okay, you talk a big game. What is your actual plan? Bill O'Reilly was the first one to get him to sit down and say, okay, I have you here. What is your actual plan? Trump reveals his plan, and Bill O'Reilly, with a stone face, just says, that's illegal. No, Donald, you can't do that. Well, then I'll make it an executive order. It'll get overturned. You can't.
No, that's not necessarily the case anymore. Thanks to our last two presidents, we have some pretty big precedents set for executive orders.
Executive powers have grown a lot in the last
20
years.
Hasn't Barack Obama set a new record for executive?
No.
Was it executive action or executive orders? There's a difference.
Yeah, there is a difference, but yeah, executive orders wise, I know I saw a chart, multiple charts about this. George W. Bush still outranks him by a considerable amount.
Did he set the record?
No. I think the record was set by Ronald Reagan, but I can't be sure.
Huh. But yeah,
FDR had a lot of them too during wartime.
There's no surprise there.
Yeah.
FDR is, in every sense of the term, a legitimate monster. I don't think Donald Trump is smart enough to be racist or even sexist. I don't think even if anything that he has said that is sexist is fully meant by him, I don't think he's bright enough to realize that it's sexist. He is a grade A moron, and he has huge support. So, I'm just saying social commentary right there.
Well, someone asked me way back, like in maybe December or January, like what I was thinking about the, election. I'm like, I'm really hoping for Trump versus Biden because either way, Mencken wins, right?
I don't know. I don't think do you know who Mencken is?
Yes.
And there's nothing that would make Mencken happier than to see an absolute buffoon in the White House.
I don't know about happy. I don't think he'd be happy with that.
Happy. He was satisfied, perhaps, because he's dead. It's not going to affect him anymore.
It's basically his I win badge when that finally happens.
I gotcha. I called that. It's H.L. Mencken saying, "I called that shit."
But it might not happen. We might get Hillary. The Democratic Party is doing everything they can to keep Bernie out. And at this point, I'm not sure anymore who is more frightening, Bernie or Hillary.
I don't know. Hillary's kind of buffoonish too.
She's not as much of a buffoon as
no. She's way more.
She's where her buffoonery comes from is she's clearly between a rock and a hard place with this whole criminal investigation thing. And
she just says buffoonish things. There's the wipe it like with the cloth thing, or the what difference at this point does it make at this thing? It's like. That's the dumbest thing that I could think that anyone could possibly say.
Or her trying to appeal to the youth. her trying to be hip. Like she reminds me of Adam Sandler and Billy Madison that first time he goes back to high school in like his leather jacket and everything.
Only I find Adam Sandler's voice less great.
But we don't have to look at her track record as Secretary of State or her involvement overseas or any of that when we talk about her, because clearly anything bad that we say about her is just us being sexist. So
exactly. That's the only reason I could have for not voting for her is because I'm an asshole.
Yeah, I am a white supremacist sexist. So there's just the idea that Hillary couldn't possibly be the best president ever is just me being a sexist. It's because she's a woman and I don't respect her as a woman. No, I don't respect her as a monster.
No. I mean, come on, guys. It's her turn, and that's how presidency works.
There's a part of me that's wondering if like halfway into the rest of this, like when it comes down to like Trump and Hillary, halfway into the race, Trump backs out. There's a part of me that's wondering if that's.
There's so many hilarious ways it could go down, and all of them are horrible.
I mean, we already know that Barack Obama's going to get a nice gig as probably a UN ambassador or something like that. And that's the only reason Hillary hasn't gone to jail yet.
Well, he'll either do that or he'll just, retire on the pretty nice, pension that the president gets and just kind of relax. I mean,
he's already said that once his youngest daughter finishes high school, he and his family are just gone from D.C. and probably not coming back. So he hasn't really announced what he's going to do afterwards, but it seems like he's done with like major politics or major, capital politics.
I just don't understand how Hillary is. We're not going to be able to blame her for things right away because she did kind of inherit Bush's mess.
That is true.
Yeah. It's like Barack Obama did his best to try and fix that mess, but there's still elements. So anytime anything bad anything bad happens, anytime anything goes bad, we at least know the cause, and it's going to be anything that happened under...
Well, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, George W. Bush was just trying to fix Clinton's mess. Oh, jeez.
Well, we've been trying to fix FDR's mess for over half a century now. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Wait, who's been trying to fix it? I don't think anyone's been trying to fix FDR's mess.
Libertarians.
Yeah, well, all three of us, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we would quit interfering with politics, then they could get on with getting everything done properly.
If you libertarians could find a candidate that's not psycho.
Fucking crazy?
Yeah.
Well, we did. I mean, Ron Paul is not psycho.
Not fucking crazy, right? Gary Johnson's pretty... But, like, the problem with Gary Johnson is that a lot of libertarians won't vote for him because he's not radical enough. So you kind of end up with this like, chicken and the egg thing where it's like, well, libertarians won't vote for anyone who could possibly be a decent politician. Referencing to politicians being somewhat of an oxymoron. But then you get guys like, McAfee, who during one of the debates, it was Skyping in where his picture was him holding a gun to his own head. It's like, okay.
Wait. So is he actually getting support?
Who, McAfee or Johnson?
McAfee.
He has a little bit of support, I think. I mean, kind of like for the shock value, I guess.
It's got to be for the shock value because
it's a shock value thing, right?
He's kind of funny. I won't say he's a complete idiot, but he's kind of an idiot. So
he has ironic internet support. I think most of it is people just like, okay, what's the clown going to do now?
But since he's running as a libertarian instead of a Republican, he's not going to get the nomination.
He doesn't live in America anymore, though, does he?
I don't know. Did we firewall him off?
Is it the same? Well, I don't know. I haven't looked into... I mean, I've kind of divorced myself from the whole political nonsense game. So
I keep trying to, but...
Actually bothered to look into him or his position. I mean, it's possible that his positions are really good. It's just that he's, nuts.
Yeah.
And I mean, being a little bit nuts is not necessarily a bad thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, you and I have talked about...
Figure out where the craziness is going to get directed.
You and I have talked about what we would do if we were running.
If craziness to abolishing the Department of Energy, then it's like, holy shit, yes, go for it.
If I remember right, Hunter S. Thompson... you two are familiar with Hunter S. Thompson, right?
I am not.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
Hunter S. Thompson was a journalist that founded the gonzo style of journalism, where a lot of people now that do documentaries do it a lighter way, but he went like whole hog into it. Like he was the one that when he went to go join the Hells Angels specifically so that he could write about their secret life and secret society. Spent a year with them. And people told him he was crazy, and he told those people to go fuck themselves. He got his story. Yeah. But Hunter S. Thompson, once he was out of the journalism... Okay, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. He wrote that, and it stars Johnny Depp playing him.
Did he get that idea from Fear and Loathing in Gensokyo?
No.
No,
but Hunter S. Thompson once ran for mayor of a small city that he lived in. And he did it specifically so that he could tell the current sitting mayor to go fuck himself. Like, he went up to the podium and he flat out said, the reason I'm up here is because I hate that son of a bitch and I see he was running unopposed. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll knock down every building that's more than 3 stories tall because it blocks my view of the mountains. And he was dead serious. Like, he started pulling out, like, contracts, like, I have spoken to this demolition crew, and let me tell you, that apartment building down the road that I'm staring at right now, your days are numbered. I don't care how many people I'm kicking out of their homes. I can't see the mountains.
How have I not heard more about this man?
Hunter S. Thompson is an utter delight to read about, because the more you read, the more you realize, oh my god, this person was real at one point.
Okay, me and Rudy have talked about what we would do if we ran as president several times, and this sounds eerily similar. Because we would basically, like Rudy said, he would stand at the podium and talk about the other candidates' platforms. Like, okay, he would wait till everyone has had their say and be like, everything that they just said are not within the powers of the presidency. So there's nothing that they're telling you that they can actually do. They are outright lying to you, and I'm just up here to tell you that.
Well, I also said that I would cosplay as one of them and parody him throughout one of the debates. I did promise to do that.
I would like to see Ramon do that for Donald Trump, because he doesn't mean
God,
Trump.
Yeah.
Please. Oh man.
I mean, I would if I was running, it would basically be I would probably be going the Hunter Thompson route. It would except I wouldn't be saying anything that like knocking down buildings. I would be saying the things outright that I would love to see done and I know would never happen. Like, we're going to get rid of the IRS. I wouldn't even candy coat it. I wouldn't even be like, yeah, we're gonna cut taxes down to 1%. Income tax straight across the board, which would be fine. I would love to hear a candidate say that, but I would be up there, no holds barred. Yeah, the IRS is gone. If I am president, everything I do is going to be to get the IRS out of here.
Well, I was actually thinking, okay, so in the city where I'm living right now, they have automated speed traps. And I was thinking that I could run for city council by simply putting up a sign on each side of each of those speed traps, and it just says "Speed trap ahead. Don't like it? Vote for me."
Yeah, that's how me and Rudy would run our campaigns. It's like, here's what we're going to do. This is all we're going to do. Vote.
One quick story about Hunter S. Thompson I didn't get to read. When Johnny Depp was preparing for the role of playing Hunter S. Thompson, he spent some time living with the man in his forest home that he liked to call the compound.
Yeah.
One night, Johnny Depp was woken up at 3 a.m. by Thompson standing over him with a rifle. And Thompson said, Johnny, they're at the door. Johnny, you've got to get up. They're at the door now. Dress yourself, son. It's time to go. And Johnny Depp just, he sleepily gets his clothes on, no shoes on, walks outside. Hunter S. Thompson has set up gas cans along the horizon and is taking shots at them, and they're exploding. And Johnny Depp is standing out there shivering in the cold and just thinking to himself, 5 minutes ago I was sleeping. What's going on? That is the kind of man Hunter S. Thompson was, and at that point I realized I not only have to see Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, I have to track down...
Well, now I have to see it.
I have to track down everything this man's ever written.
Yeah, he was a character, and that is not a it's a weak word. There should be a better one.
My goal in life is going to be to put his character to shame.
Are you going to, after you die, are you going to have like a giant... How high was that monument that he had built?
Oh, Rudy, you don't even want to see my will. you
As it was recently uncovered, I think one of his family friends found this old video of him at a small family Christmas party, and he got too excited and decided, I'm going to throw the tree in the fire. He just picked up the tree, and you could hear his then divorced wife, but they remained friends and close family members. His then divorced wife said, "Oh, Hunter, no, come on, that's too much." And he said, "Look at this, look at it go up!" And he just tossed it right into the fire, almost burning down his house. And he's standing there laughing, and everyone around him is like, "Oh my God, what the hell?"
I've never seen Hunter S. Thompson. I have no idea what he looks like.
He's a gangly man.
The voice that you're using is making me think that he's Vince McMahon.
Hey, you're breaking his secret identity.
Yeah, when I die, the things that will happen are going to last for decades, and many people will suffer. I have over 4,000 internet personas that are going to wreak havoc on this world once I'm gone.
Once the kill switch goes, the sentient AIs start attacking.
No, I haven't even built the sentient AI yet, but it's, I mean...
Don't tell them you haven't built the sentient AI yet.
Well, I mean, it's going to be better for everyone when I do.
Don't tell them you haven't built the sentient AI yet.
Well, it's safer if they let me build it than if they don't. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah, because you really don't want the non-sentient AIs running the world.
Yeah, it's the difference between whether or not they can rebuild, basically.
It's just a basic program that says 10 salt the earth, 20 go to 10.
Well, let me put it like this. If I mysteriously vanish tomorrow, you keep your eyes on Finland like a hawk.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I'm out of stuff to say.
No, you're not.
No, not really.
This is just one of them grand pauses. This was a great idea. You need to join us more often.
Yeah, I do.
You need to be on this more often.
Come up with more comic stuff to talk about.
Oh, I have plenty of comic stuff to talk about.
We keep pigeonholing ourselves into
But,
libertarian stuff.
The one thing that is really great about having Ramon on is that, like, me and Justin we're talking about comics, but we don't really know anything about comics, and so, like, you just kind of schooling us on comics is a lot of it's cool to learn stuff about this stuff.
Yeah. Maybe me and Rudy should come up with something to talk about comics, and then you can just tell us why we're wrong.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Which, that's a whole new experience for me most of the time. I'm usually never wrong about anything.
Well, I got most of my...
Wait. Did you say usually? Are you second guessing yourself?
Oh, okay, so this is a good point though. If the way that other people are going to handle arguments that I make is, well, your argument can't be right because you're white, then I think from now on my reciprocation to that is going to be, well, your argument can't be right because you're Hillary Clinton. I'm just going to say that they're Hillary Clinton.
Oh, jeez. What's the defense to that argument? No, I'm not.
Uh-huh. At least I'm not denying that I'm a white male. I mean, you look at her and tell me that she's not Martian Manhunter, shape-shifting and disguising herself.